How can you tell if a signed book is authentic? That's the question I asked myself when I found this copy of Burning Chrome by William Gibson that appears to be hand-signed by the author. Well, I've done some research and can summarise an approach for the amateur authenticator, and here's my simple flowchart.
The first step is to figure out whether the book is actually signed or if the signature is printed on. If it's printed on, then it's not authentic. If it is, then we move down to the next criteria, and that is to assess the nature of the signature, or rather, is the signature a part of a deluxe release edition, because these are quite easy to verify. If it is, then that's the easiest way to confirm the signature is authentic. If the book is rather hard signed by the author, or has a book plate with the signature glued in, we need to dig a bit deeper. And that is to move on to comparing your signature against others that you have some assurance are authentic, or enough of them that you can build a bit of a profile as to what the signature should look like. If it's insufficiently similar to that profile, it's not authentic. If it is, we move on to the last category, and that is to review any other factors relating to the book. These factors can be the authenticity of the seller, it could be the cost that you had to pay for it and how realistically that is in the market, or any other factors. If these factors do not favour authenticity, it's probably not authentic. If they do, then it likely is.
Now, let's test our research on the book. To test if it's a actually signed book or a printed book, the easiest way is just to run your finger over the signature. If you feel indentations in the page, as you can kind of see in the camera here, that means it's actually signed. If it's flat, it's printed. That gets us through the first hurdle. It's signed. Special editions can exist in both deluxe editions and regular signed editions. So here's an example of just a simple signed copy of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And as you can see, we've got the signature and the sticker as well, which you can Google and confirm the accuracy of. Secondly, I've got an example here of a deluxe edition of Children of Time. So in these versions, they're generally numbered editions or lettered editions, and they have the book plate built into the book itself. So much harder for someone to forge this because it's actually part of the book itself. And again, you can check these online to make sure that these editions actually exist. So comparing that to the book that I found, no indication of it being a special edition, just seems to be a regular run-of-the-mill paperback. Unfortunately, not a special edition, so move on to the next one. In order to compare the signatures, we first need to find a number of comparison images. So a simple Google search for the book and signature by the author should reveal a number of them. So if we compile all the signatures together, we can do a comparison. The first thing to do is to compare all the other signatures together and try to find commonalities between them. So the first thing I found was when I observed the pattern of the N here, it starts sharp, hooks down and rounds off down the bottom. Comparing that to all the other signatures that I found, very similar. So that gets us our first consistency. Moving on, I found the S generally has these sharp flat parts on top, so another consistency. Similar with the G. Nice round bottom, sharp hook on the top. Very similar in all the rest. Single dot on all the signatures, there's no dot on the I's. Overlap between the S and the O in all the signatures. And finally, an important feature, while all these things indicate that it's very similar, it isn't actually identical to any other signatures I found. And that's important because forgeries will want to rely on other signatures rather than doing it themselves. And with the emergence of AI and computer programs and CNC machines, it wouldn't be that difficult to replicate. The fact that it's not exactly the same, but similar, is very good. I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome of that review, so on to other factors. Other factors relates to any other aspect of the book that hints at the signature being authentic or not. In this example copy of Starfish here, which is signed, there is a personalised inscription accompanying the signature. That actually increases the likelihood of it being authentic
because personalised signatures are harder to sell. Now, in my copy of Burning Chrome, there is no personalised inscription. However, there are some other factors that increase my likelihood of it being authentic. In this case, one is I didn't pay anything for this book. I got it for free from a second-hand store when my wife and I were buying a couple of tables. The book was in a box of other sci-fi books and the store was giving the books away for free. So it came from an authentic collector. It didn't get extorted, so I didn't have to pay anything for it. And thirdly, the book is in great condition, which means that it had been looked after. Now, these factors together, in my view, means that for this check, we're in authenticity territory. I'm pretty happy with the outcome of that. So, all things being considered, I think we've got an authentic signature here. Pretty happy with that. I hope you find this guide useful and you've learned something from it. One final thought is, if after going through this process you land on the side of authenticity and you've got a particularly valuable book, you may want to consider taking it to a professional authenticator to have absolute certainty. For me, this has been more than enough. I'm quite happy with my find.